that is going to be what I talk about. So this is your warning. This is your warning. Alright. Now, I'm going to start off with some general facts about World War II. I think I have like 22 facts in total. I'm not exactly sure. But my first 5 are going to be kind of general. So, if you want to skip those and go to the more niche and actually fun facts, then you can go to this timestamp. Alright. So, fact number 1 is that World War II lasted from 1939 to 1945. It started when Germany had invaded Poland on September 1st, 1939. Fact number 2. The two main sides were the Allied powers and the Axis powers. America didn't join the Allied powers until 1941, after the bombing of Pearl Harbor. But the Axis powers were Germany, Italy, and Japan. The Allied countries were the United States, United Kingdom, Soviet Union, and China, which is kind of a weird combo to see. Typically, you don't see the Soviet Union or Russia and China on the same side as the UK and the US, but I guess this was an extreme case. World War II had over 60 countries involved in the war in total. Total is 60 countries. It was the deadliest conflict in all of human history, which I find to be absolutely insane. I didn't even know that there were 60 countries involved in the war at all. I thought it was like maybe 15, but I guess if you really think about it, a lot of them just didn't put up too much of a fight when it came to going against the Nazis. I don't blame them either. It's better to be taken over than to be killed, I guess. Around 70 to 85 million people died during the war. Nazi Germany had killed around 16 million people, most of which were just because they weren't a part of the non-Aryan standard. So that includes the Jewish, LGBTQ, African American, Roma, and disabled, so on and so forth. This is fun fact number 5. Also the last of the general facts. The war in Europe ended in May 1945 when Nazi Germany was defeated, but the actual end of World War II was August 1945 when America dropped the 2 atomic bombs on Japan, causing Japan to surrender. And I guess that were the last standing force after Germany and Italy already stopped and surrendered. Okay, here's what I call the more niche facts. These are kind of more fun, more interesting in my opinion, and a lot less general. So, things that you probably don't already know. The first one is that the first German was killed by an ally, which was the Japanese forces, and the first American was killed by their ally, the Russian forces. This was really strange, considering that they were both on the same team, yet they both ended up killing each other first. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but I'm assuming it was during friendly fire when a battle started and they just both accidentally shot their teammate first. You gotta feel like a pretty bad person to have done that. Fun fact number 2 or 7, depending on if you're counting the first ones. Not only were there Japanese suicide bombers who were known as kamikazes, but they also had suicide submarines. this prior to making this video. And honestly, I didn't even know that you could do suicide submarines. I'm not exactly sure how they work. I'm assuming it's the same thing where they have a bomb or something similar to that, and they explode on contact, but I thought explosions were not as powerful under the water. Or maybe they're more powerful, I have no idea. Question number 3. Or question, fun fact. Fun fact number 3. Only 20% of males born in the Soviet Union in 1923 survived the war, which means 1 in 5 men would live if they were born in 1923, which is like actually absurd. You've pretty much killed off a whole year of men in a country because of a war. I probably should have searched up how many men that was, which I guess I could do now. So you get a little bit of keyboard sounds. How many Soviet Union soldiers died that were born in 1923? And search. It says that around 700,000 to 1.7 million died directly in the war, but many also died because of famine and Stalinist repressions. So, wow, that's terrible. Wow. Okay, fun fact, or interesting fact, number 5, sorry. Approximately 15,000 American pilots died during training accidents. That was a very large portion of pilot fatalities, which were a total of 52,000. So, nearly 30% of all casualties when it came to American pilots were because of testing failures and training failures, that's gotta say something about the procedure. That's terrible. Wow. I mean, that's throughout history, or throughout the World War II, America was never very good about their U.S. bombing pilots to begin with, doing day raids and attacking the Nazi regime during daytime instead of nighttime, which is when the UK did it, and it caused us to lose a lot of men that did not have to die. So, I guess that just kind of sets the standard of how we treated our men during the war. Interesting fact number 5. This one is a lot more known. The last Japanese soldier that was in the war finally surrendered in 1974. Nearly 30 years after the war. He assumed that the war was still ongoing after his unit had fled into the jungle in Indonesia, and he lived off of scavenging for food in the wilderness and hunting, which apparently the reason why he didn't give up was because in Japan they were told to never give up, and it was like I forget what it's called, but when you go against your was used to help carry ammunition in further battles. So, I'm pretty sure it said something about how in 1943 and 1944 they used him in Italy, and he kind of became famous amongst the Polish soldiers for being a bear that was a part of the team. Interesting fact number 7. Gandhi actually tried to send a message to Hitler, in calls for peace, even referring to Hitler as his dear friend in the message. And I thought this was pretty cool because I didn't even know Gandhi was still actively protesting violence during World War II, but I guess that makes sense. I just find it crazy how he reached out to Hitler, and I don't think Hitler got the messages. It was never known if Hitler actually had gotten what Gandhi had said. Interesting fact number 8. A German commander was so stressed that he decided to abandon his post and went to a spa. His name was Heinrich Himmler, and he was one of Hitler's first supporters, so he became head of the SS. He was in charge of over 500,000 men and was assigned to protect Berlin. But because of the stress, he instead fled to a spa called I'm gonna butcher this name as well, Hohenlichen Sanatorium. And he also made some peace treaties with Allied soldiers while he was there. Interesting fact number 9 is that the Soviet had trained anti-tank dogs. These dogs would run underneath German tanks and armored vehicles and would place timed bombs underneath the tracks and would run away, and the bombs would explode. Unfortunately, that didn't work out so well, so they replaced these timed bombs with explode-on-impact bombs, which killed the dogs in the process of placing the bomb down, which is absolutely horrific. I mean, I guess it was to kill, or destroy whole entire tanks, but still, as someone who has 2 dogs, hearing about dogs unknowingly committing suicide for an act or cause that they had no idea about, it's just so sad and kind of demented. Interesting fact number 10. Americans and Germans at some point during the war actually fought side by side, even though they were enemies. This happened at the Battle of Castle Itter, where American GLs fought side by side with Wehrmacht soldiers. Apparently the Wehrmacht soldiers were guarding prisoners of war, and they thought it was wrong to have them killed, which is what some other German soldiers were coming over to do. So when Americans arrived, they fought side by side. They fought side by side with the against the Waffen SS, and it was to defend the Austrian castle. And yeah, they held several prominent prisoners of war. Apparently, some of them were French politicians, and one of them was a elite tennis player. Interesting fact number 11. Native American languages were used to carry top secret messages in the U.S. So, the United States military was aided by Native Americans to translate messages into the Navajo language. I might just keep butchering these names, I'm sorry. Navajo language. Japanese were unable to decipher it. Like, it was literally impossible for them to do it. And it aided in the Pacific War between America and Japan significantly. Interesting fact number 12. Nazis this is crazy. Those ones like actually absurd. They had the idea of launching a giant mirror into space. This giant mirror was going to be named the Sun Gun because they believed they could send this huge mirror into space to concentrate the sun's light into one small point and set fire to cities across the world. But of course this wasn't done because it wasn't achievable with the technology they had, which I don't know if we could do that now with our technology. This idea was crazy, but to be fair, Nazis were not necessarily sane, so it fits the script. Interesting fact number 13. The Soviet Union had somebody called the Lady of Death. Her real name was, I'm gonna keep messing these up, I'm so sorry, Lyudmila Pavlichenko. Anyway, she had she had 309 confirmed kills, but then she got injured by mortar fire and evacuated to Moscow. But this number of 309 kills could have been way higher because of the fact that uncounted or unconfirmed kills were not counted. So there was 309 confirmed, but there could have been many more that were never confirmed. Interesting fact number 14. This one actually was told by my U.S. history teacher not long ago. So apparently the U.S. dropped the Fat Man atomic bomb on the incorrect city. Well, I mean, they still plan to drop it on this one, but they dropped it on a city they didn't want to originally. So the Fat Man was originally supposed to hit the city of Kakura, Japan, but because of thick clouds causing the American bomb planes to not find out where the target was, they ended up having low fuel and had to instead change plans and drop it on Nagasaki. Interesting fact number 15. The youngest serviceman that served in World War II. So the youngest serviceman was 12-year-old Calvin Graham, who had lied about his age to enlist. He not only forged his mother's signature, but he faked having a deeper voice in order to serve as a gunner on the USS South Dakota, where he fought at the Guadalcanal and was wounded, but he ended up earning a Bronze Star and a Purple Heart despite being underage. Interesting fact number 16. This is the last two, so we are almost done already. We had anti-German renaming. So, hamburgers, the American staple. Well, hamburger is a German word. So during World War II, people stopped calling them hamburgers and instead referred to them as Liberty steaks to avoid anything that was German, which, I'm sorry, but Liberty steaks might be the most corny name of all time. You couldn't have chosen anything more corny. I mean, I guess at the time, that would have been cool though, during World War II. Yeah, I'm eating Liberty steaks, not hamburgers. But, no, that's just so corny to me now. Finally, interesting fact number 17, or 22, depending if you count the first 5, was using sonar, but still, the poor bats. The poor bats were killed for no reason, just like the dogs. For some reason, in World War II, we liked to murder animals in order to obtain our goals. Our goals. Anyway, that was the last